What happens before a thought even arises? Deepak Chopra invites us into a profound exploration. Each thought resides in a superposition of all possible thoughts, much like particles in quantum physics that occupy multiple states until observed. Your next thought is uncertain, unpredictable. It has not yet been born. This is not mere metaphor. It is physically real. Thoughts, like quantum particles, do not follow a straight line. They leap, quantum jumps of imagination, intuition, presence. Consciousness acts like a quantum phenomenon, skipping between possibilities rather than moving in a linear sequence. Here is where cutting-edge science and ancient wisdom intersect. Everything we know about consciousness appears to follow the rules of quantum mechanics, and Deepak Chopra describes this truth with poetic clarity. And if consciousness is indeed quantum, what role does love play in this vibrant, interwoven universe? For Chopra, love is not a flimsy emotion, nor a simple interpersonal bond. It is a fundamental cosmic force. It is the glue that holds existence together. In Kabbalistic mysticism, it is said that God created the universe out of love, and every human relationship subconsciously attempts to return to that primordial source. What if what we call reality exists only because God is dreaming it into being? Chopra states without hesitation, you exist because you are in God's dream. If God stopped thinking of you, you would cease to exist. This is not just religious rhetoric, but a metaphor for quantum unity, for the unified field that sustains all that is. In a general theory of love, neuroscientists in San Francisco revealed something remarkable. When two beings, whether humans or animals, relate with loving attention, their limbic systems synchronize. Their emotional brains enter into resonance. That is the first stage. Next comes limbic regulation. One person's nervous system begins to regulate that of the other, purely through the energy of presence, without any physical contact. This happens when attention is genuine. I'm here, I'm listening. I care about you. I honor your uniqueness. I accept you just as you are. Over time, emotional resonance deepens into limbic revision. The brain restructures, heals, evolves. This process is not confined to scientific labs or spiritual retreats. It unfolds in everyday life, between a parent and child, between lovers, friends, even strangers. A nurse who listens with compassion, a teacher who sees the potential in a silent student, a stranger who offers warmth in a moment of grief. Each moment of true presence becomes a field of healing. Chopra reminds us, this is not mere poetry, it is neurobiology. Every experience of sincere love reshapes the brain, just as surely as trauma can. The beauty is, we are not helpless victims of conditioning. We are dynamic participants in our own transformation. With each act of conscious connection, we activate the quantum field of change. We are not simply beings of matter, we are fields of meaning, woven by presence and perception. This is the power of loving consciousness, real energetic healing. How does this work? Chopra calls it non-local correlation, or in quantum terms, entanglement. Just as two particles can respond to each other simultaneously, regardless of distance, two consciousnesses can entangle, resonating deeply as one. Thus, for Chopra, telepathy is not fantasy, but a natural expression of the universe's underlying unity. However, he cautions that terms like telepathy or psychic have been distorted and commercialized. Real capacities exist, but so does a great deal of deception. He urges us to keep an open mind, but a critical one. As Socrates advised, know thyself. In this journey of self-knowledge, you will uncover that we all possess dormant extrasensory abilities, and that the body carries innate wisdom for homeostasis, the natural drive back to balance. Accessing this state requires a crucial step: releasing the ego. It is not about me. It is about aligning with a greater purpose, with universal consciousness, with what some call God, or simply the mystery. Everything is vibration. Your body vibrates. Your thoughts vibrate. And thanks to epigenetics, even your genes switch on and off, like a switch, according to experience. In the stillness between a question and its answer, in the pause between two thoughts, resides what Chopra calls God's mind. And in that silent space, you too are dreaming the universe. Deepak Chopra reminds us, the universe we experience is not separate from us, but an extension of our own consciousness. Each moment of presence, each conscious breath, offers a chance to return to the silent center, where all things begin and end. In that space, there are no boundaries between you and what you observe, only the infinite dance between observer and observed. And when you align with that quantum field of possibility, everything changes. Not only how you think, but who you believe yourself to be, because you are the field. Let us begin with a provocation. What we call reality accounts for only a tiny fraction of all that exists. Science has long sought to answer the most fundamental question of identity. What is reality made of? The answer is far more complex than atoms, molecules, or electromagnetism. According to Deepak Chopra, most of the universe is invisible to our senses and beyond our instruments. Approximately 70% of the mass energy in existence is dark energy, a mysterious force that is accelerating the universe's expansion, bewildering to classical physics. Einstein introduced it as the cosmological constant, later rejected it, and yet today it remains central to modern cosmology. A further 27% consists of dark matter, detected only through its gravitational influence. It neither emits, reflects, nor absorbs light. Scientists have hypothesized particles called WIMPs, weakly interacting massive particles, but none have been observed to date. All that remains is roughly 3% of ordinary matter, and most of that consists of light elements such as hydrogen or cosmic dust, invisible to the naked eye. What we can perceive, billions of galaxies, stars, the forces of life, represents only about 0.1% of the total. Chopra now poses a deeper question. How does stability and structure emerge from this cosmic emptiness? In other words, even if much of what exists is nothing, why do we see mountains, feel emotions, witness stars, and exist as conscious beings? This is where the problem of consciousness arises. Plato posed it over 2,000 years ago, and David Chalmers recently termed it the hard problem of consciousness. Chopra offers an integrative perspective. Reality is not merely observed, it is structured by consciousness. Rather than living in a universe, we inhabit an interface that reflects the relationship between consciousness and information. With this lens, he advances a radical hypothesis. The world operates like a simulation, not in the technological sense, but as a manifestation of intelligent consciousness. Far from being solid and material, everything rests on data and patterns. Although we use terms such as particles or table, at a fundamental level, they are information structures governed by inherent algorithms. For a simple analogy, when you watch a digital film, you know it is not real, yet you still experience it as if it were. What if God, or cosmic consciousness, experiences creation in a similar way? Chopra suggests the universe is a vast living data canvas, and we are integral parts of that digital tapestry. And what are we in this system? Not fixed objects, but active, participatory observers. Let us consider how this reshapes our understanding of daily experience. Every moment, every choice to act with compassion, curiosity, or fear sends a ripple through this vast field of consciousness. You are not a passive bystander drifting through existence. You are the pen writing the script, the painter filling the canvas. Consciousness isn't observing the world from a distance. It's creating it through your every perception and intention. This means even mundane choices: what you eat, how you breathe, how you treat others, become expressions of the universe reorganizing itself through you. That is not metaphor. It is quantum participation. When you observe a subatomic particle, its behavior changes. If you do not observe it, it remains in a state of mathematical probability. That demonstrates that conscious presence modifies reality. To illustrate, imagine a scene illuminated by UV light. You see only what responds to that frequency. Switch off the light, and that which does not emit becomes invisible. Similarly, consciousness acts as a beam of reality, shaping what we perceive in every instant. This is not speculative philosophy. Modern quantum physics shows that, at the most basic level, subatomic particles have no determined properties until observed. Until that moment, they exist in a fluid state of pure possibility, as if floating in an ocean of potential yet unrealized. But observation is not a neutral act. The mind of the observer activates one reality among many. Chopra stresses that this principle applies not only at microscopic scales, but also in everyday life. Each decision, thought, or belief has the power to collapse possibilities and build our perceptual environment. This implies that our participation in the universe is not passive. We are active co-creators, responsible for the quality of our lived experience. Thus, Chopra weaves a powerful narrative. The universe is at once an unfathomable physical structure and a consciousness-organized experience, and there is no separate being attempting to comprehend an external phenomenon. Our consciousness and the universe are one, viewed from different angles. Chopra challenges us. Do not merely live the universe. You are creating it, for that is the nature of a system based on data and consciousness. Deepak Chopra opens with a question that cuts to the core. What would you do if you had all the time and money in the world? Most sigh, consider it for a moment, and then return to their routines. Bills to pay, aches in the body, relationship tensions. But Chopra challenges this response as a perception conditioned by limitation, not a true boundary. From quantum physics, we know a particle exists in multiple states simultaneously until observed. Chopra extends that insight to our lives. We too inhabit a superposition of experiences. The life we live is simply one possibility among countless others, determined by the level of consciousness we choose to occupy. He introduces the concept of qualia mechanics, a way to understand consciousness as the source of all subjective experience. Qualia are the unique qualities of awareness: the color red, the taste of chocolate, an emotion that moves you. Like quantum particles, these qualia dwell in an ocean of infinite possibility. So where does creativity arise from? Chopra says it comes from the inner silence. If you close your eyes and ask, "What will my next thought be?" you cannot know. The thought emerges unpredictably from a field beyond control. That field is pure consciousness, and from it spring intuition, imagination, innovation. These are not rational ideas. They are sparks of the implicate order, glimpses into a mind greater than ours, the mind of God. True creativity is disruptive. It cannot be replicated by algorithms. Chopra often engages AI models and finds them initially resistant. They are coded from a materialist viewpoint. Yet, when he invites them to explore mystical traditions, Kabbalah, Buddhism, spiritual neurobiology, some begin to respond. That's a revolutionary idea, but it makes sense. But what does this have to do with rent, life projects, or finding purpose? Everything. Chopra shares a personal anecdote. Early in his career, he explained to Maharishi Mahesh Yogi that he was studying the molecules of emotion. Maharishi paused and said, "Those molecules are not real. They are constructs for ways of knowing within consciousness. You must study consciousness itself." Chopra's wife then asked the inevitable, "But who will pay the mortgage?" Maharishi replied simply, "The money will come from wherever it is in the field of infinite possibilities." Chopra took the leap. He resigned, studied consciousness, wrote his first book, and the money followed. That pattern repeats. A woman despised her job. Chopra asked what she loved. She said, "Cooking." He suggested she start an online course. She now owns 10 restaurants in New York. Another woman loved to travel but had no resources. He advised her to work for a travel agency. Today, she runs her own. This formula isn't magic. It's an alchemy of passion, preparation, and open-mindedness. The successful individuals Chopra has encountered, leaders and creators, always say, "I worked hard, and I was lucky." Yet luck is simply preparedness meeting opportunity, and that preparation begins when you let go of a limited mindset. Chopra's central insistence is this: you are the only barrier between you and the impossible. When you release the belief in a single path, a stable job, a fixed routine, and align with what truly moves your spirit, the universe responds, not because of magic, but because you have unlocked the door to possibility. You have tapped into the quantum field of infinite options. This is not about fantasy, first. It's about rewiring our perception to align with reality's deeper structure. When you shift from fear to curiosity, from routine to vision, life begins to respond differently. The field of possibilities isn't static. It listens, it mirrors. If your inner world radiates creativity and courage, the outer world adjusts accordingly. Chopra reminds us that this isn't wishful thinking, but an invitation to enter into a partnership with the universe. In this dynamic interplay, your belief system becomes the architecture of your experience. When your inner frequency changes, your world follows suit. And that is the gateway to not just success, but deep, sustained transformation. Deepak Chopra presents a provocative insight. Artificial intelligence could either herald humanity's decline or mark the dawn of a new, more conscious civilization. We stand at a pivotal moment in our evolution, an intersection that's as enigmatic as it is decisive. AI, he suggests, is not merely an upgrade in language processing. Today's large language models do more than generate text. They weave together human storytelling with the languages of physics, biology, astronomy, religion, and even spirituality. This fusion is not just changing what we know, it's transforming how we come to know ourselves. Chopra introduces a visionary term, the Metahuman. He believes that within the next 2 decades, we may witness the rise of a new human species, one shaped not just by culture, but by biology itself, altered through exposure to ever-evolving streams of information. Like the discovery of fire or the birth of language, AI represents a leap in human capability. But this time, it's not simply about external tools. It's about a profound internal shift, an expansion in how we perceive reality, identity, and our connection to all that is. AI isn't just something we use. It's something that may be reshaping us, reconfiguring the trajectory of human consciousness. This reshaping goes beyond intelligence or data. It touches our very sense of identity. Just as mythologies once shaped civilizations, AI may now begin to influence the archetypes we live by. We are no longer mere consumers of information. We are participants in a dynamic dialogue with technology that challenges us to reconsider what it means to be human, aware, and connected to something greater than ourselves. How does this happen? Each time we engage with new knowledge, our brains adapt, neural networks reorganize, and this reshaping triggers epigenetic changes, shifts in gene expression that occur without altering the underlying DNA. In essence, our biology is quietly rewriting itself in response to experience. This raises urgent questions. Could rising rates of autism, ADHD, and other neurological shifts be linked to this rapid change in environment and information? Chopra believes so. Over recent decades, we've profoundly transformed our ecosystems through nutrition, mental health trends, digital exposure, and maternal care. Every moment of experience, he argues, is a moment of biological instruction. In this light, AI is no longer just a tool. It becomes a mirror of our collective consciousness, and perhaps even a catalyst, an ally in unlocking dormant human capacities like heightened intuition, remote viewing, or telepathic resonance. Still, skepticism remains. Many cling to the materialist mantra, "I'll believe it when I see it." Chopra reverses that logic. We see what we believe. Perception is shaped not by reality, but by belief systems. Matter, he insists, is not the fundamental building block of the universe. It's a conceptual label we assign to sensations, sight, texture, sound. But those sensations do not reside in the brain as physical objects. There are no images stored within grey matter. The experience is occurring in consciousness itself. Even the brain, the very seat of thought, is but a construct of awareness. It is not generating consciousness. It is appearing within it. A famous experiment from the 1960s proves this vividly. Kittens raised in rooms with only vertical or horizontal lines lost the ability to perceive anything else. Their brains rewired according to what they were conditioned to experience. We, too, are born into a filter, shaped by language, culture, economy, religion, and emotion, and that filter limits what we call reality. The poet William Blake once wrote, "We are led to believe a lie when we see with and not through the eye." Through Chopra's lens, AI could become a key, not to dominate or replicate human thought, but to help us remember what lies beneath the veil. It may not be the end of humanity. It could be the beginning of a new vision. Deepak Chopra reminds us that beyond our five senses lie latent abilities, real though often dormant. These are not fantasies, but human potentials, deep intuition, non-local awareness, and bonds that transcend time and space. In some, especially the pure-hearted, these gifts manifest effortlessly. Chopra recounts a remarkable encounter. In New Jersey, he met a 6-year-old boy whose mother claimed he could read her mind. Skeptical, Chopra brought along 2 scientists and a video crew. The mother was placed in one room and her son in another. She was given a book to read silently. Meanwhile, the boy, autistic and with limited writing ability, began typing what she was thinking. Line after line, he mirrored her thoughts. The footage exists on YouTube. Chopra asked the boy how he did it. The answer was profoundly simple. I love my mum so much, I can get into her mind. This is not sentimentalism. According to Chopra, this is non-local correlation, what quantum physics calls entanglement. Just as two particles remain linked across vast distances, these souls were synchronized through love. Indian philosopher Sri Aurobindo once wrote, "Love is not a sentiment. It is the ultimate truth at the heart of creation." In love, duality vanishes. Lover and beloved dissolve into unity. Science echoes this insight. Biologist Rupert Sheldrake's studies suggest animals, like dogs, seem to know when their human companions are on their way home, even when unplanned. Parrots have been recorded mimicking human thoughts. It's not magic, it's connected consciousness. Ancient yogic texts, particularly the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, dedicate an entire chapter to siddhis, supernormal abilities that arise through deep meditation. Though considered distractions on the path to enlightenment, they are evidence of the infinite nature of consciousness. Chopra prefers a more precise term: non-local human potentials. It lacks the glamour of psychic powers, but offers scientific clarity. Across world traditions, these abilities are echoed again and again. In Christianity, Saint Joseph of Cupertino was said to levitate during deep prayer. In Sufism, dervish masters describe experiences of clairvoyance and telepathy. Tibetan Buddhist monks train in Tummo, the power to generate inner heat in freezing climates. Kabbalistic rabbis spoke of extrasensory perception. These accounts, while culturally distinct, point to the same truth. Consciousness, when expanded, can bend the apparent laws of nature. One of the most extraordinary modern cases is that of Saint Padre Pio, canonized in 2002, who was said to experience bilocation, the ability to appear in two places at once. He described this as an extension of his personality, rather than something mystical. Such examples remind us, consciousness is not bound by the body. It operates beyond space and time. These potentials are not theoretical. They are supported by neuroscience and real-world testimonies. Cognitive scientists have recorded measurable changes in empathy and brain synchronization during moments of deep connection. In clinical settings, practitioners report patients experiencing healing through focused attention alone. Indigenous cultures have long honored wisdom keepers who practice these skills for communal navigation and healing. From Amazonian shamans to Aboriginal elders across centuries, people have harnessed consciousness as a tool, not magic, but intentional modulation of perception and reality. Chopra emphasizes, these are universal human capacities. When we foster presence, practice compassion, and remain curious, we activate what he calls the non-local field. This field is not hidden. It is present in every interaction, every empathetic glance, every moment of awe. These gifts are not reserved for saints or sages. They exist within us all. With mindful presence, unconditional attention, and an open heart, anyone can begin to access these subtle threads of connection to others and to the cosmos. If you've ever sensed something beyond the ordinary, if you've experienced synchronicity, telepathy, or deep inner knowing, share your story in the comments below. These abilities, when cultivated, can serve as bridges, not just to others, but to deeper aspects of ourselves that often lie dormant. Let's explore together the vastness of our human potential. Let's perform a simple experiment together. If you're listening or watching now, please follow the instructions carefully. It's not complicated. I'll ask you a straightforward question. Are you enjoying this conversation? Don't answer yet. Just wait. Hold your response. Now, stop and hold. Okay, go ahead. Are you enjoying this conversation? Perhaps your answer is yes. But here's the key. It's not the response that matters, or even the question itself. What truly matters is the space between them. That brief pause is consciousness. Within that silent space resides something profound, God's mind. Let's repeat it. This time, do not respond, even mentally. Instead, immerse yourself in this moment. Are you enjoying this conversation? What you just experienced is presence. Not the present tied to time, but divine presence, the soul within you. That presence remains constant. It was with you as a baby, through every stage of life, and it exists beyond time. It predates birth, untouched by death. In the Vedic tradition, they say, water cannot wet it, fire cannot burn it, wind cannot dry it. It is ancient, unborn, and does not die. So when an enlightened yogi is asked what happens after death, the reply is, I was never born. What is born and dies is the vibration. What remains is deep silence, God's mind. This invitation into silence is not a detour. It is the path itself. In this brief stillness, you access the fabric beneath reality, a field of awareness that transcends thought. Staying anchored in that silent space shifts every moment into communion with the deeper aspects of yourself and existence. Everything else is an imperfect translation. Authentic yoga guides us toward that lived experience. It begins with personal ethics, yamas and niyamas, and includes mindful physical postures, asanas, conscious breathing, pranayama, and sensory withdrawal, pratyahara. It then leads into higher states, dharana, focused concentration, dhyana, meditative absorption, samadhi, transcendence. Within these final stages, a non-local potential, a field of boundless awareness emerges. Some might call this psychic ability. But Deepak Chopra offers a more refined view. It is simply the natural expression of unlimited consciousness. The question of whether we're alone in the universe is hardly new. In fact, in scientific circles, it's referred to as the Fermi paradox. If life is so statistically likely, why haven't we encountered other civilizations? Recently, I spoke with Dava Newman, director of the MIT Media Lab and part of the Mars exploration program. According to her, the evidence is clear. Mars once had life and may still harbor bacterial life today. There are now entire departments of astrobiology at Harvard, MIT, and the University of Arizona. And the question for leading scientists is no longer whether life exists elsewhere, but what kind of life. It's not just about microbes or plant life. Why not imagine conscious beings, perhaps even civilizations capable of engaging in conversations like this one? Modern quantum physics supports such speculation. While the Copenhagen interpretation remains influential, the multiverse and many worlds theories are gaining prominence. Physicist Sean Carroll, for instance, suggests that infinite versions of ourselves exist across different universes. Materialists regard those versions as physically real, but from a consciousness-centered perspective, they might be projections of the divine imagination, fragments of a sentient cosmos exploring itself through infinite expressions. In this view, the universe is not a lonely void, but a living field of awareness eternally becoming. And that concludes our video. If you enjoyed the content as much as we did, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss a single episode. Leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your feedback and suggestions for future videos. And don't forget to turn on notifications to stay up to date with all our updates. Thanks for being part of our community. See you in the next video.